Hello everyone and welcome to ngaugeuk UK, which is a new YouTube channel which is going to concentrate on the UK outline N-gauge model railways. So first thing, why a new channel? Well, there are plenty of good channels on YouTube if you want to look through them. I can recommend one or two. Intercity 82 or Streamlined Trains, for instance, in the UK. But they're concentrating on double gauge railways. There are good N-gauge channels, Big E61, several others, but they tend to be American based and erroneously tend to call it N-scale when it's actually N-gauge, which we can go into more depth at another time. But what really seems to be missing to my eyes is something that's looking at N-gauge, British outline railways. There doesn't seem to be a channel out there. It's a really expanding market at the moment, the biggest growing market in model railways. That's down to all sorts of different reasons. People aren't living in as big houses as they used to be. They're more in flats and smaller living spaces, which makes N-gauge more attractive. You can model a much bigger, more realistic area in N-gauge, given the same amount of space than you can in double gauge. For those who've never really heard of N-gauge, it's half the size roughly of double O, or the standard famous Hornby size, which most people will be familiar with. So in terms of dimensions, it's obviously a quarter size in terms of area. You can model what you can in double O. It's actually really closer to 2/3 than a quarter, than half really, sorry. So about scale, just so everyone who's new to N-gauge has an idea of size and stuff. Double O gauge is about 1:76, so for every foot the model would be roughly 4mm. British N-gauge is 1:148, roughly, but not exactly, 2mm to the foot. Now there are several different scales in N-gauge. There's British, European, which is the same as American, and Japanese. Then they're all different, but none of them are exactly 2mm to the foot. None of them do the track and models match exactly to 2mm to the foot. So there is a separate scale called fine scale 2mm, which does do that. And it's very close to British N-gauge. It's 152:1. But the track size is very slightly different. The N in N-gauge stands for 9mm, and that's the width, the distance between the rails of the track, which is why N-scale is an erroneous description. It's not a scale, it's a gauge, a track gauge. I hope that explains it. I will do something in a little more depth about the differences between all those different systems in a separate video. But the point being, of course, that as it's roughly half the size of double O, you can get twice as much track, twice as much scenery in a given space. It's not exactly half the space you'll need. If you've got 10 foot in double O, you can get the same amount of track and scenery and everything in about 6 foot, 6.5 foot in N-gauge. You can't just half everything because you do need a little bit more space for curves and things like that, and you have to be very careful with curves. You don't see very tight curves in real railways for good reason, and some curves can be very unrealistic in model railways, and you always want to go for the widest possible curves you can. So what can you expect from this new YouTube channel? Well, hopefully lots of reviews, and you can see several things on the screen now that we'll be reviewing in the near future, hopefully. Locomotives, rolling stock, sets, lots of reviews, all British outline, The occasional review of it, something that can be used for British outline. A good example is things like the Tomic's Schaffenberg couplers, which I'm going to do a little demo on, which can be used for coupling up multiple units. There's also going to be a little bit of news and some guides to things like choosing track and designing track and laying track and all those other things. Hopefully a nice, wide, broad spectrum of things related to ngaugeuk. So that's just a quick intro of what this channel is going to be about. Hopefully a few reviews will start appearing in the next few days, and they'll tend to be just sets and locomotives and coaches and things like that. I'm also going to hopefully do a little guide to the Schaffenberg couplers, which I mentioned, and looking at different tracks. There are different types of track available. Some look prototypically better than others. I'm going to explain the differences and the advantages and disadvantages of the different types. Also, I'm going to do a couple of simple kit builds with the Pico kits and a few others. You can see the Pico kits on the screen now. Just very basic and simple to put together, that sort of thing. And then, hopefully by the time we've done a few, we'll have some feedback, maybe some requests of certain things people would like to see or more information they want. So it's really important, guys. Please subscribe, please comment, please leave suggestions or requests. So I'm going to close this now. Just thanks for watching, and hope to see you soon.